Good morning and welcome to the sixth part of our Jim Elliot adventure. I wonder, have you ever felt alone? This week in particular. Perhaps you've already had a few days at home that have been weird. No more school for the next few weeks. No more seeing your friends every day. Alone in your house with, well, perhaps your mum, your dad, or any brothers or sisters that you have. Well, Jim, Pete, Nate, Roger and Ed waited alone in a clearing in the jungle in Ecuador. No one knew they were there apart from their wives. They made a fire and cooked some lunch on it. How do you think you would feel if you were Jim? Perhaps they were really excited. Here was a group of people who had never heard about Jesus before. Would they be the first ones to tell them about Jesus? That was an incredible privilege. Imagine people who were not Jesus' friends getting the chance to know him, enjoy him, and go to be in heaven with him forever. That would be exciting. But perhaps they were scared. The Waodani were known for having killed many outsiders with their huge spears. If anyone came into the Waodani jungle, it was a big, big risk. As well as feeling scared and excited, perhaps, they also felt alone. But they knew that God was with them right there, and that no matter what happened, he was their friend forever in heaven. So they sang songs of praise to God to remind themselves that he was with them. And just like we've done this morning, they prayed together to encourage each other. And they waited alone. Just then, in the bushes behind them, something moved. And they saw two people coming out of the trees into the clearing. And so they jumped to their feet and they started calling out, "I like you, I like you, we want to be your friends, come, we will be your friends." Jim and his friends were excited. Was this the moment that they'd been waiting for all along? And so the two Waodani people came forward to meet Jim and his friends. They tried to communicate with them and talk with them, and Jim gave them some clothes like we wear, and even gave them a ride in his aeroplane across the jungle. The Waodani seemed to love this. So when Jim and his friends later said goodbye to the Waodani that day, they were rejoicing. This was the first step in the Waodani getting to hear about Jesus. That night they went to sleep really happy, but still quite nervous, because in the morning more adventure would face them. In the morning, they woke up again and thought, let's take the plane out and go for another trip to see where the Waodani people have gone to. And so they did that. And when they flew over the jungle, they saw that many of the Waodani men were not in the Waodani village. And so they expected, maybe they're going to visit us today. And so when they came back, they started the lonely wait again, all gathered round the fire, just making themselves some food. And sure enough, soon through the trees again, two Waodani appeared, the same two from yesterday. But with them came many more. and many more who had big spears in their hands. Their smiles and happiness turned to frowns and being quite scared. The Waodani didn't want to be friends. They were there to stop the missionaries. And that afternoon, the Waodani won, and Jim, Pete, Ed, Nate and Roger lay dead on the ground. So is that the end of our Jim Elliot story? Or is it? Was Jim's life just wasted? All that training, all that preparation, all that travel, all that learning of those languages, and all those aeroplane trips over the jungle. No. God did two things through the death of Jim Elliot. You see, the Waodani people still didn't know Jesus, but they felt sorry for murdering the 5 men. So when Jim's wife Betty turned up with her friends Rachel and Dayuma, remember them? To try again to tell the people about Jesus later, the Waodani were amazed. How can Betty forgive us and want us to know Jesus when we killed her husband? And so they started to listen to the good news of Jesus, and some of them started to follow him. It was a very slow process, though. The New Testament was only completed in 1992. That's when some people in this church were born. And Rachel and Dayuma, sadly, didn't like anyone helping them in this. This was their project, and not even Betty could help at times. How amazing it is, though, that God still used them, and now some of the Waodani follow Jesus, know him, enjoy him, and know that their sins are forgiven, and they can be in heaven with Jesus forever. Secondly, many people heard the story about how Jim died, trying to tell the Waodani people about Jesus, and thought, wow, Jesus is really worth it. We would do anything to be able to tell other people about Jesus who'd never heard of him before. And so they got to go to some of the hardest and dangerous places on earth, because they knew that Jesus was so amazing. Everyone needs to hear about him. And if God is with you and Jesus is your friend, then nothing is too scary. He'll help us, even when we make mistakes. And so, our story about Jim does really have a happy ending after all. The Waodani now have some of the Bible. Many of them are following Jesus. And, well, Jim's life was an amazing story of one who gave everything, along with the churches there, so that people who didn't know Jesus and had no chance of hearing about Jesus could start to follow him. I hope you've enjoyed our story.